Okay. Excellent. All right. So welcome new students. We're so excited to welcome you to the Lee Strasberg Theater and Film Institute for the fall 2021 term. Our going to be our first big back to somewhat normal term. We have a great large group of students. So this orientation is going to be, Tim Krause is going to talk to you about advice on and information on how to approach your studies and provide your first method acting class. After that, there will be a Q&A session, and then myself and some other people from the administration will be back for some other welcome and other important information. So for now, Tim.
Are you ready?
Take it away.
All right, let's get to it. It's good to see you guys. I'm excited to see you all in person. Okay, where do we begin? We got a couple hours to get you guys ready. So first off, I'm going to get some of the more boring but important stuff done, which is the classes. The acting classes are going to be 4 hours long, which means the first 2 hours you're going to be doing sensory work and relaxation, which I'm going to take you through in a bit. And the second half will be you doing scene and monologue work. Now, why do I say all of that? What it means is wear very comfortable clothing. You're here to work, so come in ready to work. The classes will be hopefully a lot of fun. I thought they all were. I was a student for 10 years at the school. They couldn't get rid of me. I enjoyed it so much, and that's why I'm going to try to let you guys know sort of the best way to approach your training. First of all, the school. When we get back to the school, which I'm hoping is very, very soon, first thing I would say to look for, believe it or not, is bathrooms. Find the bathrooms, because it's an important thing. When you have to go, you have to go. You need to know where they are. So I would, the school bathrooms are on the 2nd floor and the 4th floor. When we get back there, that's a very minor thing, but important. Also, there are an incredible amount of resources at the school you should be utilizing. First of all, when you're looking for the plays that you're going to do, we have an actual library. So you will go to the desk to Leah or Letitia, and you will basically fill out a form saying what play you want. They will find it for you within whatever time it's going to take. It might be, you might need to get it the next day or the end of the day, but utilize the library there. It's really helpful. It'll save you having to buy every play. Also, there is a link I'm sure Lenore has provided you with that also tells you where to get plays online. There's an online library to utilize. So again, that's another resource. Now, personally, my advice is also to canvass all of the thrift stores around, Salvation Army, Goodwill, because there's an awful lot of plays that are there that actors have discarded, and you can get them for 25 cents to 50 cents a piece. And it's a great way to build up your own library. So I would definitely suggest that. Another thing, when we get back to the school, which again, I'm hoping is in like 2 weeks or so, there are access to archival tapes of Lee Strasberg teaching, which would be something I would definitely advise you guys to look up. So when you get a chance to get in there, go through the list. There's a bunch of tapes on there on relaxation, on sensory work, how to break down a script. Lee is very thorough. He's fun to watch. I think it's important you see him as an actual person and not just this thing you read about. And it's incredibly valuable. You begin to see how brilliant he was. And lastly, is going to be utilize all of the people there. Dory, Lenore, Pat, everybody there, Leah, everybody at the desk, everybody's there to help you. And I'm telling you, they will be happy to bend over backwards to answer any of your questions or help solve any of your problems. So please go to them. There's that. Now let me get to the hopefully less boring stuff. When you go to your classes, like I said, go there ready to work, but also ask a lot of questions. You know, all of us as teachers, we're here to try to impart as much knowledge on you guys as we can, but acting and this kind of training isn't really like a lecture memorization thing. It's really about you guys understanding the concepts and the exercises and getting them in your body, because that's what you've got to go on when you get in front of a camera, or when you get on stage, is you have to be in your body working. So all the theoretical stuff, if it doesn't make sense to you, it's not going to do you much good. So don't be afraid to ask questions and ask questions again. I was obnoxious as a student because I just kept asking questions. But again, that's really the only way to learn. So do ask questions. Now, congratulations on you guys coming here, because training is one of the most important things you can do as an actor. When I first started acting, I really had no idea what I was doing. It was fun. It was scary. And the thing is, when I did a show, because I was doing a lot of plays, you would have a great night. And then the next night you were terrified because you just didn't know how you got there. It always seemed very ethereal. The wonderful thing about training is it gives you a way of working. The way of working will then give you some confidence in each performance that you're giving, that you're going to be able to give a good, strong performance. So congratulations on that. Lee's work is incredibly practical and incredibly versatile, as you guys will see just from today of using it. Hopefully some of you have seen it in the orientations as well. Open house, I mean, excuse me. So let me go there. Let me go a little bit of history of Lee, then we're going to get into the training, and then we're going to get you guys working, because that's the most important thing. Lee Strasberg was an actor. He did a lot of Jewish rep theater on the East Village when he was a kid. And he had heard about the Moscow Art Theater, which was considered at that time and possibly still the greatest theater that ever existed. This is the late 1800s. And he got a chance to see them when they came to America to perform. And he was completely blown away by the precision, the concentration, and the realism of it. He was so taken aback by it, he was enthralled. He wanted to learn this. Well, in about 1920, Konstantin Stanislavski, who was running the Moscow Art Theater and had also written all these books, he was coming to America to basically teach. So Lee signed up for the classes. They were going to be at the American Lab Theater. A few days before he was about to leave Russia, Russia said, you know what? If we let him go, we probably will not see him again, simply because Russia was going through a huge revolution. They were not very sympathetic to artists and creative types because they were trying to sort of control people a bit, I guess you would say. So they wouldn't let him go. So he said, well, rather than cancel the entire class, let me send 2 of my best students who know my work to teach it. So that's what he did. Maria Uspenskaya was the woman who came to the American Lab Theater in America, and she taught Lee Strasberg. Lee Strasberg taught and learned everything that he could about Stanislavski from about 1920, 22 to 1929. 1929, the stock market crashed in America. That meant everything went crazy. At that time, Lee thought it was a very important time. He and Harold Clurman and Cheryl Crawford said, why don't we form an American version of the Moscow Art Theater, which is dedicated to the excellence of performance? So they formed the group theater. The group theater, which you will hear about historically, was very important in America. What they did was a lot of plays that were socially relevant, and aiming towards truth and realism. They were trying to get what was going on in the world out there. So in the group theater, what they started to do was play with all of the tenets that they had learned from Konstantin Stanislavski. And one more thing about Stanislavski. He is the father of the method, and because he started all of the training that has to do with you thinking more internally rather than externally. And also his goal in life was to do something called the Stanislavski system. This is why he wrote the books and put things down. And what that was at the time, he wanted to train people to be able to do major roles in a shorter amount of time. In those days in Russia, it took about 8 years till you got to do an actual major role. You came into a company, you learned to paint sets, do makeup, etc. You became an extra, you had a line or two, you had a small part. And over the course of those 8 years, you learned enough about the theater that you were able to do the whole role. He wanted to truncate that into about a 2-year period. Well, the reason I bring this up is that's really what Lee was basically trying to continue when he started experimenting with all of Stanislavski's work. So Lee played with all of it, and he came up with what is called the method, which is what you're about to learn here. The method is based on this. You must train your instrument, your body and your voice, as if it is a musical instrument. You have to think of yourself more like an athlete than anything else, because your instrument, your body, is what you're actually working with. He also focused on relaxation. Now, the relaxation that you're going to be doing here is not falling asleep. It's not chilling out. It is relaxation in the sense of getting rid of any excess tension. Tension is more energy than is necessary for a task. If I hold my arms out to the side, I only need as much energy as I need to hold my arms up. If I do this and I flex, I gain nothing, but I actually lose because all of those tense muscles now cannot let an impulse through. When you think about great acting, acting that we find compelling to watch, it's because it's following impulse, 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 impulse. It's alive. It's happening in front of us. This is the difference between someone who is performing something in a wooden way, where you see them aping what they do, but they're not really feeling it from the inside. So the first 10 is going to be the relaxation, which is to wake you up. Just like you, any of you who play musical instruments, when you sit down at the instrument, the first thing you want to do is make sure that it is in tune, right? If it's out of tune, no matter how well you play it, it's not going to sound right. So that's what we do the relaxation for, to tune up our instrument. And from there, we then do a series of sense memory exercises, of which we're going to take you through the first one today, and then you'll continue on through them. These set up, I think there's a list in your packet, all the exercise that you should get, and hopefully within the first semester, you're going to get that foundation, because that foundation is what you're going to build all of your work from. Think of it like you learn your ABCs, etc., before you read, before you move on and put sentences together. That's what it's about. Some of the exercises are a blast. Some of them are a little tedious. The point is they all are very helpful and very useful for you. And right off the bat, they can also help you within your scene and monologue work. So let's see if there's anything else. I don't think I need to give anything else. Let's go to the work. That way you guys can actually get working. So I want you guys to get comfortable in your chairs. Give yourself some room. And right before we start this relaxation, I'm going to do something called a long, loud sound. Why do we do that? We do that as a way to release anything. And as you go through your tension in your body and let go of it, you're going to find that the energy has to go somewhere. Sometimes you want to put it into a long, loud sound. It goes like this. Think of it like when the doctors put the tongue depressor on, and that basically in and of itself, that's where you place it. Make it a very relaxed sound, push from your diaphragm and just let it go. Let's do one together on 3, okay? Take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3. You're going to find as we do this, you're going to find that we do an awful lot of letting go, of letting the sound out. So now let's start with the relaxation. Think of yourself like an athlete getting ready to run a race, which means every bit of relaxation is getting the tension out of your body and is keying you up. You're going to be ready to work. You're going to feel a little bit like you're buzzing. It's going to be very vulnerable, but that's what you're doing. You're opening up your instrument and getting it ready to work. So sit back in the chairs and close your eyes. And the first thing you want to do is get present. So take a moment and think about how you feel physically at this very moment. And just accept it. Don't judge it as good or bad. And think about all the things that are going on with you personally, with your friends and your family, starting school.
Does Ivana deal with the
and whatever you have
archive library
going on with you, just let it go. Don't focus on it. Don't judge it. It is what it is. It's part of your instrument today. And take a deep breath and make a long, loud sound. Now concentrate on the top of your head and pick a spot and relax it. Let the relaxation expand over top of your scalp. And then down your forehead. Now, what you're doing is something called an active relaxation, which means it's not falling asleep. You're keying things up. And it also means that you're going to move. That's why we use the word active. So when you get to your forehead, just let go of the tension in your forehead. And then I want you to wiggle your forehead a bit and see if there's any tension that's hiding there. Sometimes when we try to let it go, it's still holding on in there. If you find any of the tension there, let it go. If you don't, let's move to the eyebrows. Once again, just let them go and then wiggle them a bit and see if there's any tension there. Your eyelids. The muscles behind your eyes. Your temples, where we hold a lot of mental tension. Lee would call that the blue nerves. Down the bridge of your nose. Across your cheeks. And your mouth. All the way down to your chin. Relax your jaw right where the jawbone connects with the skull underneath the ears, and let your mouth hang open slightly. And then test your jaw by opening and closing your mouth. It should be a nice, easy movement. And as you're opening and closing your mouth, I want you to relax your tongue and your gums and your lips. Keep your face and your jaw relaxed while you take another deep breath and make a long, loud sound. Turn your head profile left and right and begin to relax your neck muscles. And as your neck muscles relax, let your heads fall to your chest and shoulder and back again. To move them around nice and easy, no stretching, just an easy movement that gets rid of any of the tension that you're holding there. Roll your shoulders around and get the lower part of your neck and your upper back. And then put your arms out to the side about shoulder height, like you're an airplane, and start with your thumbs and just move them and relax them. So as you move them, check for tension in the thumbs. We hold lots of tension in our hands and our feet. So just move the thumb, then the index finger, the middle finger, ring finger, and your pinky. Your palm, wrist, forearm, upper arm, shoulders again, your back muscles, right by your shoulder blades, your chest muscles, all the muscles around your rib cage, and then go down your spine from the back of your neck to your lower back and make contact with each muscle group attached to the spine. Flex them a bit, see if there's any tension there. Good. Take another deep breath and make a long, loud sound. Now you're going to slide forward in the chair and turn over to your right butt cheek. So you're going to lay back in the chair like this. Back far. There you go. Your arms are at your side to balance you. You're going to concentrate on your stomach muscle and get your left leg up, out, and around. You're going to flex the stomach when you raise the leg and relax the leg when you drop the leg. Up, out, and around. Then you're going to focus on your left hip. Same movement with the leg. Up, out, and around. Left thigh. Left knee. Left calf. Left ankle. Left foot. And left toes. Now flip over to the other side, reposition yourself in the chair. Now you're going to be on your left butt cheek. Go back to your stomach and get your right leg up, out, and around. Once again, flex the stomach when you raise the leg, relax it when you drop the leg. Right hip, right thigh, right knee, right calf, right ankle, right foot, and right toes. Take another deep breath, make a long, loud sound. Good. Now I want you to continue the relaxation on your own. Bounce around to any parts of your body you want to. But this next time with the relaxation is all about you. Close your eyes, focus on yourself, and just keep tuning up your body. Piece by piece, you can bounce around. But this is your time to do this before we get into our first exercise. Keep it moving, keep it active, and be as thorough as you can be. But remember, it's not a stretch, it's just a flex. This time is all about you. So any thoughts that come up, put them into a long, loud sound. Let them just pass through you. Don't hold on to them. Remember to lay back in the chair and be on one side or the other and keep switching back and forth. So you're changing your position. Good. Periodically keep coming back to your face. A lot of times when we get rid of the tension on the lower part of our body, it ends up above on our face. And remember to keep it active. Looks good. Good. Be as specific as you can be. Don't forget the backs of your neck and your upper back. I see a lot of tension in the necks. Good. Put a little attention to your hips and your lower spine. Just got a couple more minutes of this and then we'll get started on the first exercise. So stay focused, keep bouncing around through different parts of your body. Stick with it. Everybody take a deep breath and make a long, loud sound. Keep your eyes closed and sit up in the chair. I want you to think of what you tend to drink first thing in the morning. The first exercise you're going to do is the morning beverage exercise. So whatever it is that you tend to drink in the morning, coffee, tea, milk, water, juice, soda, and think about what you tend to drink it out of: a mug, a glass, a cup, a bowl, a can, a bottle. And I want you to imagine this morning beverage in the container that it's in, right in front of you. Reach out with one hand and touch it. Feel the outside of the container. Feel the texture of it, whether it's smooth or has a bump or a curve. Can you feel the temperature of the container? Is it cool or warm? Use both hands and get the shape of it. Is it straight up and down? Does it have a neck? Does it get thinner up top? Is there a lip at the top, a curl, a handle? Can you feel the texture of what it's made out of? Is it glass or ceramic or paper or styrofoam? Plastic? Lift the container up and see if you can get the weight of it. Concentrate and move it around a little bit in the air and see how the center of gravity shifts. Because it's a liquid, since the center of gravity isn't fixed, it'll move as you shift it around. You might even feel it sloshing around in the cup or bowl or can or bottle. Is the outside of the container dry or moist with condensation? Now bring the container up to your cheek and press the outside of the container against your cheek and see if you can feel the texture of it against your cheek, the temperature of it, the wetness or dryness of it. Just relax your cheek and see if you feel anything. And then pull it away from your cheek and see if you can tell the difference. Press it to your cheek again. If the container has to be opened up, open it up and bring it under your nose and smell it. Take a good whiff of whatever's inside. See if you get any scent or any kind of reaction in your nostrils or nasal passages. Push it away from you and smell your rooms. Can you smell the difference? Bring the beverage to your nose again and smell it. See if you're getting any sensation in your throat or nostrils. Are you getting any steam if it's hot? Are you getting any bubbles or effervescence if it's a soda? Take a sip of the beverage. roll it around in your mouth, and see what kind of a reaction you get in your mouth. Do you get any taste? Do you get any temperature? Do you get any texture? Is what you're drinking creamy and almost oily or heavy? Is what you're drinking crisp, like water? Is what you're drinking bubbly and effervescent, like a soda? Is there pulp, like a juice? Take another sip. Pay attention to where in your mouth you're getting any reaction. Don't worry if you're not getting taste. You might just get a little sensation. Sometimes this work is very subtle, and don't demand that the work you get be exactly like it is in life. See if your mouth salivates from what you're drinking. And as you're holding the container, feel the weight again and the center of gravity and the temperature. And feel underneath the container and see if there's a seam or a chip. Is it rougher? Is it smoother? Is there a change in texture underneath? So now I want you to continue exploring this beverage on your own. Weight, shape, texture, smell, taste, temperature. So just play with it and see what you can discover. Again, don't demand it. Don't worry if there's aspects you didn't get. Just keep your eyes closed and focus on it and see what you do get. Concentrate on the beverage and the aspect of it you're going for and see what you get. Stay focused on it. As you're holding the beverage, make sure your hands, your shoulders, your arms are still relaxed. Once again, don't use any more energy than is necessary just to hold it up or move it. Keep breathing as you do this. You want to get a lot of oxygen in you. Keep checking weight, shape, texture, smell. It looks good, you guys. Stick with it. Now I'm going to make it a little harder on you guys, so stay focused on what you're doing. Keep exploring the beverage. But I want you to very slowly open your eyes, but keep your concentration on the beverage and exploring it. Try not to look at the beverage itself. It's not a terrible thing if you do, but it helps sometimes not to focus on it visually. And see how much of what you're getting you can keep with your eyes open. If you lose the beverage completely, close your eyes to get it back, and then open them when you have it back. Stick with it, keep exploring. And be as specific as you can be in what you are exploring. Weight, shape, texture, smell, taste, center of gravity, and every detail on the container, a chip, a seam, a serial number. Now stand up with your beverage, and I want you to slowly move around your space with the beverage, exploring the weight, shape, texture, smell. Periodically take a taste of it, and just see what you're capable of keeping as you move around your space. Can you feel the weight as you move around? Can you feel how the center of gravity shifts as you move? Can you feel the liquid sloshing around in the container? Can you get any of the scent or any of the taste of it? Try sitting down again, taking a sip, then maybe standing up again. Get used to moving around with this object, with this morning beverage. And as always, check your hands and arms and shoulders for relaxation, so you're not adding tension. Just got another minute or so. So anything you want to try with it, try it now. And now take your beverage back to your seat. And when you sit down with it, go through everything one last time. The weight of it, the shape of it, the texture of the outside of it, its smell, its taste. And then put the beverage away. Close your eyes a second and then open your eyes and look at your space, your room, your computer in front of you. Take a deep breath, make a long, loud sound. Very good. I know that was a little bit tedious, but again, part of what you're training yourself to do is your focus and concentration. So you guys did that for almost a half an hour, just to tell you, that's a pretty damn good. Yeah, exactly, right? Didn't seem like half an hour, did it? So basically, you're training your focus and concentration to be like a laser, so that when you are in a scene, whether you're again in front of the camera or on stage, you are focused completely on it. You're getting rid of any of the extraneous stuff that doesn't pertain to the scene, and you're focusing on the things that you need to. So that's one of the things that the exercises do. Think of the exercises for you like going to the gym. Just like an athlete would go to the gym and lift weights and train certain muscles, get their stamina up. That's what the whole first half of your classes are for. They're here to train you. The second half is you taking these exercises and utilizing them into your scenes. Now, let me give you some examples of that. This is a morning beverage. If your character is doing, say, O'Neill's before breakfast, Eugene O'Neill's before breakfast, your characters are getting up in the morning, or the first scene in The Bachelor Party by Patty Chayefsky, your characters are getting up in the morning, getting ready for work. So That's a given circumstance within the script, right? So you say, well, I could act like I'm groggy, etc. Instead, all you really need to do is focus on what you do in the morning. What's the first thing you drink? Coffee, water, soda, etc. And if you do that, immediately your body, every cell in your body remembers that that taste, that beverage is assigned to you getting up in the morning, which means your body gets into that. The whole idea of this is that you are breaking down the realities of your scene, the who, what, where, when, why of your scenes. Who is your character talking to? What is the relationship between them? Why are they there? What are they going into the scene expecting? What do they need? What is the event of the scene, et cetera, et cetera. And then laying out different exercises to fulfill those realities. That way, when you are performing, you're not acting, so to speak, you're living them out. And that's what these exercises are for. They give you a prop cup. All the cup is to you is a prop, right? And you say, okay, my character is supposed to be drinking coffee in the morning. I don't drink coffee in the morning. I drink orange juice. You'll take this cup, and instead of focusing on the things here, you will feel the glass or container or can of the juice that you drink, and you're going to focus on that. When you taste the quote unquote coffee, you're going to be tasting the juice that you normally have with it. You're going to taste the pulp or the bitterness, etc. Why? Because again, that brings you right back to the morning. You don't have to act it then, your body remembers it. As you guys were doing this, I'm sure many of you were picturing where you are in the morning, your kitchen, etc., right? As you're drinking this. Well, that's because every single thing that you do is associated with other things. We're going to be doing a place exercise in a bit, but you may say, I don't want to focus on the taste or the morning beverage. I'm going to focus on my kitchen because that's where I sit for 15 minutes and sip my orange juice or my coffee to get me ready to go take the shower, to get dressed, to go to work. So again, you may do the place that you're doing. You have an incredible amount of creativity in how you're utilizing the work, as hopefully you see just from today, but also through the course of this semester. There are many different exercises to get to the same quote unquote reality that you would need. But again, you're going to start with the basic ones and build up. So over the course of the 12 weeks, you will hopefully have an entire toolbox filled of how to start to get to things. Does that make sense to you guys? Now, I've spoken much more on the kind of surfacey stuff. They're giving you a mug, your character drinks coffee, but there's also another layer to the work, which I think is where it gets a little more fun, which is you say, okay, if you are playing a character like, say, Nina in the Chekhov's Seagull, anyone know that play? Again, in the Seagull, she goes off on this long journey, right, to become an actress and basically become something, and she gets beaten up. So at the end, she comes sort of crawling back, and she meets up with Constantine, her, I guess, close friend, someone she's grown up with. And most of the times when she comes into that scene, you give her a little cup of tea because she's been outside, etc., and she recounts her life. So you say, okay, if you were playing Nina, what are the kind of given circumstances? Well, she's not in the best of health. She's quite vulnerable. She's kind of figuring everything out, so she's a bit lost. So you say to yourself, okay, what kind of those realities could I bring to it? So very simply to say, okay, she's kind of lost and she's not feeling well. So let me go back to maybe when I was a kid and I was sick. What was it like when I was sick? Who did I depend on? Well, you would probably go to your parents or someone like that who you were depending upon. Well, Constantine is family to her. So maybe you recreate some of that entire reality that you were going through as a child to bring in to live out as Nina when she's going through her life. And it could be as simple as when you were a kid and you were sick, your mother gave you a specific kind of soup to drink, or hot tea with honey in it, and you say, okay, so when they give me that tea as Nina, I'm going to taste that soup. Why? Because that soup brings me back to being vulnerable, being sick, and basically trying to, heal and cocoon a bit, because that's really what Nina is doing at the end of the play. So my point is every single exercise you do has many layers of how you can use it. Does that make sense to you guys? And again, like I said in the beginning of this, it's practical. It's very basic. There's a lot of crap written about the method that turns it into something it actually isn't. This is not a psychological exercise. It's about you understanding human behavior and then finding ways to bring up your own human behavior to live it out. You guys are studying human behavior. Starts first with yourself. Why did I behave the way that I behaved? Why was I in a pissy mood? What was bothering me? What was threatening me? What was making me behave that way? This is what you're going to have to do with all of the characters that you look at. So you don't look at it and say, oh, I'm sad or I'm crying. It leads to say you never want to play an emotion. It doesn't mean you're not emotional, But playing an emotion is too simplistic. Again, I'll give you an example. Your character is at a funeral. So immediately most people go, oh, I've got to be sad. It's a funeral. Well, not every funeral is sad, and it's certainly not sad in the same way for every person. First of all, if the person who passed was sick, maybe there's an element of relief. Maybe as you're hearing the eulogy, you're starting to remember things that they said to you, which could be funny, by the way, which could amuse you or could comfort you. So the point is, when you go to a funeral, there's a bunch of emotions that happen. So for you to just play sad is being too simplistic. It's kind of like playing one note on a piano over and over again. It's the array of notes that make music. And ultimately, you yourselves are going to be touching all of the different notes within a scene, because there are many things that play upon you in a scene. And so you're going to focus on all of them, so you don't have one emotion to play, but hopefully multiple emotions, moment by moment, again, not about holding on to it. So now let me get back to why we do sensory work. Well, going back to the group theater, Lee was always experimenting with things. And he would say, it would discuss different scripts. And one of the scripts they would discuss would maybe say, think about maybe their parent. And so it would talk about mother. And of course, people would just go, you know, Lee, it's weird. I just smelled my mother's perfume, or oh, I just tasted my mother's pot roast, or whatever it is that she tended to make. Or I remember I just heard her voice when we started talking about mother. And he started realizing that we were not remembering people up here. We were remembering things by our senses. And he surmised at the time that this was something we must be doing evolutionarily. It's in our genes. You guys already do sensory work. You just don't realize it. Again, every time you go into a store and they're playing a song from 3 years ago, and immediately you hear that song and start thinking of where you were, who you were with, or what happened around it, is sense memory, because that song elicits that entire time period for you, or that person, or that relationship, or whatever you were going through. The thing is, we are always doing sensory work. The trick is, as an actor, within the work that you're doing here, you're going to harness it. You're going to utilize it to build things and do them intentionally. For example, well, why do we do this? Because it's a survival thing. That's what we ended up finding out somewhere in the 60s. When we were running around the Paleolithic era, we survived completely, just like animals do, by our senses. We knew a certain feeling in the air meant a storm was coming, so we had to go find shelter. We knew a certain food, like a berry, when we tasted it, was sweet and gave us energy. So every time we walked by something that resembled that, our bodies would remind us. We would get a lift from it. Just like you guys, if you were sipping coffee this morning, right now in the morning beverage, you probably got a little bit of a lift from it because your body recalls that. That's what it does to you. Conversely, if we ate something like a leaf or a stick of something when we were out in the Paleolithic era and it made our stomachs hurt or made us a little sick or made us tired, we would, every time we would go by that kind of a thing, our bodies would remind us either to stay away from it or that it was going to make us more tired or lethargic. So basically, we have survived by our senses, but we don't really need them anymore. Obviously, we are in built shelters, we are wearing clothes. Even the food that we eat, which is normally sometimes called organic, is processed. It's cleaned, it's packaged, it's cut up. We don't really not trust things anymore because we have so many organizations that protect us. But here's the good thing. Your senses are still working. They know what milk is supposed to smell like, which is why when you pull milk out of the refrigerator and open up the thing for your cereal, if it's bad, your body picks up on it like that. It's instantaneous because we'll open up to put on the cereal and go, whoa, wait, what? You check it again. Oh, that's not right. Your body knows it immediately. So the thing is, your body knows when something isn't right, and that's your senses telling you. It's only at times like that, or when you are going to a new location you've never been to before, you're going to find your senses become heightened because they're taking in all of this information and processing it. It's telling you what's going on here and what to expect. The first bite of food you eat is the only time you actually taste it. Why? Because your body tastes it, says, oh, this is a hamburger. It's good, meaning it's okay to eat. And you get the salt and the oil or whatever else is in there. And then your body stops tasting it. Why? Because it knows what it is. And you'll find this as you eat dinner tonight, that the second, third, fourth bite, you don't taste it the same way. It's that first bite that you really get it, because that's your body processing it and saying, what is this? And what do I need to know about this? As you're going through your lives now, while you're in class and prior to and outside of it. Pay a little bit more attention to things. As you walk outside of your apartment, pay attention to the shift in the air. Is it more humid? Is it less humid? Do you feel the rays of sun on your face versus not when you're in a vestibule somewhere? What's the difference of going into a store where there's air conditioning versus out? What does the air feel like on your body? Start paying attention to how your body is responding to things around you. It will make it much easier when you start coming into class and utilizing that and bringing it in and doing it as an exercise. Okay, so now we know where it's come from. We did our first morning beverage. We did the relaxation. First off, does anybody have any questions before we proceed? Nope. Oh God, I must be explaining this too well. Yep, go ahead, Diana.
Hi, okay, so my question is, so obviously we want to bring our own reality to the reality of the character, which makes total sense, and it obviously doesn't have to match whatever is happening in the play or the script or whatever. But what if that reality is so is unimaginable to yours? It's so distant from you. Where is the crossover? What do you do? Do you make a conscious effort to think of your own experience, or do you watch other people, or do you speak to other people that may have had a closer experience?
There's many ways to go about it. All the ones that you're describing are all possible, but let me focus first on it. At this point in your lives, you have all experienced everything you need for any character and any experience you've had. Now, you may not have experienced it to the degree you're talking about, right? But you've all been betrayed. You've all been hurt. You've all been in love, even if it was a crush. You have been through everything. You've probably stolen something in your life, you know, even if it was something innocuous as a kid. But my point is, you've all been through everything and you're using that. Now, you say, yeah, but my character stole a bank. Yeah, but you know what? The thing is, a drop of water is a drop of water. Billions of drops of water is an ocean. So basically, whatever you've experienced it. You've had a moment of wanting to kill somebody. The thing is, you didn't act on it. So if you have to play someone who, God forbid, murders somebody, you have to, you elicit that. But at the same time, you've got to look at it and go, why does your character murder? Because that's the important thing. Is your character murdering somebody in self-defense? Are they murdering something in a calculated way, etc.? Because those are all different realities. And so you want to sit there and pay attention to all of those given circumstances. But my point is, you do have something to play there. And remember always, you are the character, but the character is not you. And that's an important distinction to understand of this work. So even though you're utilizing and eliciting different things from your own life, it's not you living it out, it's the character living out those experiences. Because ultimately, and this is the key to what the method is, you are building a Frankenstein monster that is your character. Just like the character of Frankenstein, Frankenstein was built from parts of different people. A leg from this person, a leg from this person, an arm, and leg. And once they're stitched together and that electrodes go through and Frankenstein becomes a thing, Frankenstein is not those people anymore. And yet parts of those people are Frankenstein. So you are going to take a little bit of this from your life when you were 5, this from your life when you're 11, this from 6 months ago. You're stitching it all together in a way that you are living out the reality of the given circumstance. And yes, you're using your imagination because it's not you literally. And yes, you would probably want to do research if it's something you don't understand. If you're playing a heroin addict and hopefully you've never done heroin and have never been addicted to heroin, you say, let me research it. What does that drug do to your body? What experiences do I have that are similar to that I can bring? So you're not going to have heroin to work with. You're going to have something else. How do I understand an addiction? Well, maybe your character is addicted to something that's very harmful and dangerous, and your addiction is to chocolate. And the thing is, yes, it pales, but at the same time, you can utilize that need, that hunger, that drive for it and go, okay, this is my drop of water to get to what that character is going through. Does that make sense? It's a good question. And it's something that definitely sometimes confuses people because they think you're limited to what you've actually experienced. We're actors because we want more. We want to live multiple lives, right? We want to experience things as Hamlet, as Nina in The Seagull. At the same time, we also don't want to get ourselves into any kind of trouble, physically or emotionally. So you want to have tools of way to get to it and living it out. So yeah, that was a good question. What else? Anybody have a question?
I
Yeah.
have a question. So, what if you can't feel the cup or taste the coffee, or you can't feel the exact emotion you experienced at some point of time?
We're not playing
What do you do?
emotion. Remember, first of all, you're not playing an emotion. You play a reality. So forget the emotional part. You play realities, your emotional life comes out of it. So you're not tasting it and you're not smelling it. Did you get any of the sense of the cup? I'm asking you, did you?
No, I
Did
did.
you get any temperature?
Temperature, yeah, I did.
There you go. You know what Lee would say to that? A bit of the apple's the apple. Lee would always say, when you're going for an exercise, if you get one thing from it, you got it. You don't need the whole cup to get whatever it is you need. So if all you're getting is temperature, or all you're getting is a little bit of smell, you've got the exercise. So try for more, but the point is you have it. One of the worst things we do, and this was something I was guilty of a lot because I push, I want more, is when I would do the work, I'd be focusing and concentrating to get more. And my teacher would go like, stop, stop. He would hit my head, go, stop. You're adding all this tension to get it. Just relax. And whatever you get, just accept. It's kind of Zen, something very hard for me, but it began to realize that's what this work is. Relax into it. See what you get. If all you get is temperature, you got it. So don't beat yourself up, because the trying to get things and getting frustrated will just add tension to it. But again, good question. All right, I want to take us through another exercise, a much more fun one. So sit back in your chairs. Close your eyes. Just take a minute or two to check your relaxation. Just take you a minute to get it back. Take a deep breath, make a long, loud sound. Keep your eyes closed. I want you to think back to when you were a kid, and I want you to think of one of the classrooms from when you were 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there. Raise your hand briefly when you've chosen one. Okay. And with your eyes closed, I want you to picture this classroom. Put the teacher in front of you, whether they had a chalkboard or desk. And take a look at everything you can see in front of you, which would be called the fourth wall. The fourth wall is what's in front of you, the audience, the camera. So just go from left to right and look at everything you can see on the wall in front of you in the classroom from when you were a kid. And then turn to your right and do the same thing with the wall to your right in that classroom. What do you see? Shelves, things on the wall, windows. Then turn to your left and do the same thing. And behind you, the ceiling in your classroom above you, and the floor below you. Now look back out at the wall in front of you in this classroom and keep that picture in your head. And then very slowly open your eyes and superimpose your classroom over top of the room that you're in right now. It's going to be very ghostly. You'll see through it. But see your classroom as a child and put things that you see in it against things in your actual space. You can see your wall beyond the wall in front of you or the computer in front of you. And just go from left to right and build everything you can see in your classroom by putting it against your lamp, your computer or camera, your window, etc. So visually build it across. And then turn to your right when you're ready and do the wall to your right the same way. Put it against the wall to your right in your room. You can see your classroom wall beyond your wall or in front of it. But just place things that you see. And then the wall to your left in your classroom. The wall behind you. The ceiling above you in your classroom, which you can see below your ceiling or above it. And then finally, the floor below you in your classroom. So see your classroom's floor over top of the floor that you are in right now. Now look around your classroom and look at the lighting in it. What time of day are you remembering it? Is it morning? Is it afternoon? Early evening? And look around your classroom and see the clues to what time of year you are remembering it. Are there coats or boots to tell you it's winter? Are there any other knickknacks or things on the wall that tell you the time of year you're thinking about it? Put your arms out to the side and feel the air in your classroom. Is it warm? Is it cool? Is there a draft? And smell your classroom. What does it smell like? Does it smell like something, a cleaning product? Does it smell like lunches? Is it wet and damp like it's been raining? And listen to your classroom. What do you hear? Do you hear the teacher's voice? Do you hear something outside of the classroom? Traffic, wind, music? Now stand up and walk around your classroom and explore it. Feel the objects, etc. And a good place to start would be to go to where you sat, your desk or your chair, and explore that area. What do you remember about that? You spent a lot of time here. What does your desk or seating area seem like? Do you remember what was written there, if anything was written? Are there any books left there, or notebooks, or pens, or pencils? What did your desk area smell like? Did you have your lunch stuffed underneath it? You could smell your lunch? Now start exploring other things in the place, whatever's on the shelves or the walls. Look out the windows if there's a window. Go to the area that you had your lunch, if you had it, if you carried it with you to the classroom, or go to where you kept your coat or your shoes or boots. So explore whatever you just did daily there. Now look around your classroom and look at your classmates. Who do you see in your room? And I want you to go to whoever you were closest to at that time and go over to them. Reach out and touch their shoulder. Feel the texture of the clothes they're wearing. Touch their hair. Feel the texture of their hair, whether it was short or long. Feel the skin on their face. Feel the softness of it. Look at them. And watch them say your name or whatever they called you. Hear anything you remember them saying to you, whether it was a joke or something important. Now say to them what you want to say to them. Just whatever it is, whatever you're feeling like saying to them, say it. Look at them and think about all the times you spent together, the things you did, talked about, joked about. Give them a hug. Feel the temperature of their body as you hug them. See if you can feel their heartbeat or their breathing. And smell them. Once again, hear them say your name. And then move away from them. Go back to the classroom. And I want you to search for something that's a surprise, something you'd forgotten about. So look in things, under things, open doors or drawers. Look for something you'd completely forgotten was there. Now look around your place a bit and look at your teacher. And go over to your teacher. Look at them. See what they're wearing, what they looked like. And hear your teacher say your name or whatever it is that they called you. Listen to anything you remember them saying to you, either good or bad. And touch their arm. Lean in and smell them. Did they wear a certain perfume or cologne? What kind of colors did they wear on their clothes? Now say to them what you want to say to them now. Now turn away from the teacher and look at the classroom. And I want you to think of an event that happened while you were in this classroom. Doesn't have to be a big deal. Could be someone celebrating somebody's birthday. Could be something that happened. Just think of an event that happened. And then I want you to go to where you were in the classroom when that event happened. And I want you to watch that event unfold just like it did when you experienced it. See whatever happened around you. Hear it, smell it, just live it. So watch it around you as if it's happening to you. And experience it again. The sounds, the sights, the smells. Keep reliving it like a loop, the peak of that event. And just relax into it. Good or bad, let your body react to it. Is it surprising to you? Is it scary for you? Was it funny to you? Amusing? Now step away. And as you step back from this event, I want you to see the event from the outside. See yourself at that age experiencing that event. See who was around you. See the reaction on your face as whatever was happening happened. Now turn away from that event and look back at the classroom. And I want you to go through the classroom, circle it, and see if there's any areas you've missed, any things you've missed. Look for every detail you can all the way around the classroom, the corners, underneath things. Could be a smell, could be an object, could be a sound, could be something visual. Just go around your classroom and look for all the different details. Where were the books kept? The pens, the paper, the paints. See if there's anything you've missed or forgotten about. See the colors of the paint on the walls? Or the signs or posters? As you're going through the classroom, think of all the times you spent there, the people you knew, things you did. Think about the things you miss about that time period and the things you don't miss about it, the things you're relieved to be away from. And now walk around this classroom before we say goodbye to it and take it all in one last time. And then say goodbye to this place and that time period of your life. And close your eyes. When you open your eyes, I want you to look at the space you are literally in. Take a deep breath, make a long, loud sound. Very good. Come back here. Very nice job. Now that's a place exercise. The thing about a place exercise is it has every single exercise, every sensory exercise in it. It has smell, maybe taste I didn't explore, so maybe that's when we didn't, but it could have. But it's got smell, it's got visual, it's got sound, it's got people. All the exercises you're going to do over the first semester are going to be included in a place, a person, a personal object, overalls, the air in the place, etc. So all of those things will be in here. Place is a very important exercise because it protects you from the audience, watching you when you're in a play, protects you from the director, the DP, the Teamsters watching you when you're on a film. It gives you the sense of intimacy. You and your character or characters are in a scene having an intimate moment, meaning you are having a conversation, etc. You are not out on stage. Of course, you are literally, but your characters are not. So you need to have something that allows that privacy and that intimacy and also allows you to go further, because there's nothing worse than standing up in front of a bunch of people and having to speak. It's one of the most terrifying things to do. But when you're in a place exercise, you're not doing that. You're in this place. Now, obviously, let's say your character is going back and revisiting their classroom. You're going to do a classroom. They're going to give you a set to work with, but none of these sets that they give you really mean anything to you. They're there, they're beautiful, they may be perfect in terms of what the writer has said, but they don't mean anything to you. So even though you have a set that is great, you're going to want to go back and superimpose your classroom over it. Why? Because you have a personal connection to it. And there are so many things in this classroom or one of the other classrooms you could do that will parallel something your character is going through. Maybe your character is reminiscing about a terrible time they had. So you're going to go to that classroom or that aspect or that day or that event and use that as a way to trigger into that reality. Maybe your character is going to be nostalgic about how they missed that time period. You're going to go back and look at your place and any of the aspects of it that you missed, that were wonderful, that you wish were still around, whether it's your friendship, etc. There are many ways to use a place exercise. You can use it to fulfill an event in the scene. The event could be a confrontation, and you say, okay, the confrontation takes place in the kitchen, in the play or the film. And you say, okay, they're giving me a kitchen. I can do my kitchen to fulfill the need of it being a kitchen and one that I know. Or because it's a confrontation, you could say, I had a confrontation similar to this, but it was in the living room. So I'm going to do the living room as a place because it feeds the event of the scene, even though they've given me the set of it being in the kitchen. So again, once again, it's up to you how you use this work and what real needs within the context of the scene that you're going to fulfill. Does that make sense? And as you guys can see, it took you 2 seconds to get it. That's how you're going to always be doing a place exercise. You close your eyes, you picture it, you open your eyes, you superimpose it over top of your literal space. That keeps you, that protects you. That way you're not going to walk into the orchestra pit. You're not going to walk into a camera. You know your physical space is there, your walls are there, but you also can see what you need to see with it. Lastly, these days there's an awful lot of green screen work, which means you're going to be given a green room with green blocks, and you have to turn this into a place that you live in or a place you are investigating. Let's say you're doing some adventure and your characters are going through, I don't know, some sort of a cavern or a castle or something. And you say, okay, well, what is this to my character? You can go back to when you were a kid and say, I remember exploring the woods. I'm going to visually see the woods so that when they CGI the castle or the woods or the cave around me, it looks like I'm actually seeing something. All they're going to be giving you is ping pong balls to look at for spots. And that's not going to do anything to you. It's not going to elicit anything into you internally. So what you want to do is do something. Maybe your character sees something terrifying and you're going to say, what have I seen that terrified me? A rabid dog? What kind of things scare me? A bear, a wolf, a snake. You're going to see that and you're going to elicit that reality. So when you're looking at that ping pong ball, that's what you're going to be focused on. And that brings the reality of what your character is going through. So place exercise is something you're going to want to do in every scene and every monologue that you do because it helps protect you. All right, let me shut up and see if anybody's got any questions. What questions you have? Yep, go ahead, Charlie.
Hi. Yeah, so my question is, when you do like the place and also with like the drink as well, is it a combination of like doing it as a preparation tool, like before you like enter the scene and like in rehearsal and then doing it in the scene as well? Just because I'm like, yep, I think that's like a lot going on in your head, like it being in the scene of one of these.
Yeah, you choose it for the reality that you're getting from it that feeds the scene. And again, you incorporate it in as early as you can within your rehearsals. And it's just like blocking, right? And when you're given blocking by a director, the first time you're doing it, you're thinking about it. The director says, Tim, walk 10 paces, pause, turn, say your line, wait 2 beats and move. And you're in your head going 10 paces. So you're in your head doing it. The second time you're still doing that, but you're also starting to acclimate. By the 5th, 6th, 7th time, you're no longer actually, hang on, let me get whoever's talking here off. By the 5th or 6th time, you're not thinking about it anymore. It's just incorporated in and you're doing it. Because by the time you're in performance, whatever this thing is, you're seeing the snake. You just see the snake and you react to it. You see what I mean? It's not like the first couple of times where you're placing the snake there or seeing it strike or something, and then it starts to become automatic. It's just like blocking, just like lines. If you're thinking the lines, you're not really in the scene, right? First couple of times you get memorized and you're off book. Of course, we hold on to our lines and think about them. We know the next one coming up. But when you're in performance, they just come up. That's the scariest moment with lines, when you've got to memorize and you stop thinking about them. You let them just come up to you. So you're right. You don't want to be thinking about it in the middle of the scene because you got too many other things to focus on. Your scene partner, what your objective is, etc. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yep. Roxana, is that it?
Yeah. How do you protect yourself emotionally if you connect what you're playing to your own private emotional memory?
Well, the thing is, you don't do something that you aren't finished with yet. So if you have some sort of experience that is traumatizing you, you would never want to use that in your work. Because Lee was adamant that you as an actor have to be fully in control of everything you do. Your character can be out of control, but you have to be fully in control. Why? Well, first of all, that protects you. But secondly, it protects your scene partner. You don't want to literally hit them. And it also protects the people around you, the crew. So my point is you have to be in control even if the character is out of control. If there's a traumatic event from your life that creates too much dissonance in you, don't use it. Find something else in your life that will fulfill that, because you want to be in control. You don't want to go through trauma every time you perform this. Kathy Bates said when she was doing the play Night Mother, it got to the point where it was she almost didn't want to go to the theater to do it because it's a horrible thing what her character is dealing with. So basically, you want to find the thing that you're able to do. You are going to suffer as the character if your character is suffering, but you're suffering sensorially. And there has to be an element of the actor kind of getting off on the fact you are taking yourself on this journey, which is different than life where you're on this journey and you don't have control over it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally get it.
Yeah, and it's a good question because you're going to be doing stuff that is resonant and deep, and you don't want to hurt yourself. Let's put it that way. Yeah. What else? Anything else? Yep. Emily, is that right?
Yes, right. So the idea is not actually like staying in character all day. You can really leave the set and leave it behind, because that's one of the things you always hear about method acting, right? So
just think about it logically. There's no way you can stay in character. Do you know why I say that? Because none of your characters would ever do a scene over and over again. None of your characters would say lines or hit blocking, right? Because if you're if you're Abraham Lincoln, you're going to be in the Oval Office working. You're not going to be going, oh, I'll do another close-up. How are you Abraham Lincoln, right? I mean, look, people will trick themselves into thinking they are staying in character. There may be physical adjustments you're doing that you keep, but ultimately you don't need to do that. And no one does. Even Daniel Day-Lewis doesn't stay in character. His wife, Rebecca Miller, does not put up with it because they've got 2 sons, and that would traumatize the sons that every day their father is somebody else. And Sally Field, who studied with Lee, worked with him in Lincoln, and basically said they used to text each other on the set all the time. He and her, Sally Field and Daniel Day-Lewis. Now they were Mr. and Mrs. Lincoln, but were they? They're texting. It didn't happen in the 1800s, But the point is they're professionals. And the thing about all of this is you have ways of bringing up the reality for the scenes that you need. And also, if you try and stay in something too long, you will start to become very numb to it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you don't want to be numb. You want to be fresh. So at the end of every take of a film, you're going to drop the work, check your relaxation, and then before the next take, start the work up again. And that way you're fresh every time. And again, because you have the work and you've set it out, you have confidence that the realities will be there.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. What else? Anything else? Okay. I know that we're going to continue on. I believe Lenore is coming back on, and we're going to have some more questions for you guys. So if you need like a very quick break for the bathroom or to get water, this might be a perfect time to do it. And then we'll come back.
Actually, go ahead. Yeah, we're it's just going to be very brief, this next part. So.
Oh, okay.
So let's just stay on. So, yeah. So thank you, Tim.
Shall I leave? You want me? I mean, I
don't know hang out. Yeah, you can hang out too.
Okay.
At this point, we're gonna have a special message from our president, Victoria Crane, and some other administration messages. Let me just get her on. So 1 minute.
Well, if anybody thinks of any question, feel free to ask. anyway, I hope to see you guys next week in some of the classes. But again, all of the teachers you're going to find are really excellent. They're really strong. And again, like I said, pick their brains. Be brutal in the sense of just wanting to learn everything you can from all of us. Oh, good. Vicky's here. Hi, Vicky.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Tim.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you, darling. Am I on? Am I muted or what?
Nope, you're on.
Oh, okay. All right. Good. Just want to make sure I won't screw up. How did everything go? As usual, you were sensational. I think you got this. You got it, honey. You got it. All right. Are we on with the kids now?
Yes, they're all here watching. Yep.
Yes. Yep.
All right.
We're all here. We have about 43 students on, right? 43 new students. So it's about half of them.
So, what do I do? You have to help me through this, Lenore. So what do I do? Do I just?
So you can just give your welcome message and tell them all of our exciting news.
Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Oh God, I hate this. Just a minute. Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Victoria, and I want to welcome you all. I understand I'm talking about 40 kids, and I just wish they were. I'm so tired of Zoom. I just want you guys in-house, and I promise you soon, it'll happen soon. I want to welcome you to the Lee Strasberg Institute. I hope you enjoyed your afternoon with Tim, and you found it interesting and challenging and anxious to start working. I just want to let you know we are working under rather hard circumstances because we have to worry about keeping everybody safe. So we want to make sure that you're safe, the teachers are safe, and we want to have a safe environment. So therefore, there's certain protocols that we must follow. For the first 2 weeks of our enrollment, you will be taking classes in places that have an air filtration system. We are in the process of installing one at the school now, and it won't be ready until the first week in October. I promise you that when we come in, we're going to have a party. We're going to celebrate your homecoming to this beloved place. It's been a year and 17 months, 17 months total that we have not been home. And I can't tell you what it's done. Just coming into all we're allowed to do is stay on the first floor. And I can't tell you what it means to be here. You're gonna see for yourself. It's exciting. It's home, and we're gonna have a party. We're gonna celebrate your homecoming. I promise you. Is there anybody here? Oh, I know you guys are from all over. So when I meet you personally, because all I'm seeing are 3 people right now. So, and I'm not very tech savvy, so please forgive me. So I promise, you've got to promise me when you come in here in October, I will get to meet you all personally. All right. And hopefully we can hug with our masks on. Okay. But I welcome you and I thank you. Oh, by the way, we have a list of requirements that we need to follow, protocols that we need to follow. And I have instructed Lenore to help us navigate those so that, again, you're going to be safe. The teachers are going to be safe. I want this thing to be behind us, but in order to do so, we must take care. All right. So please let us all be mindful and be patient. All right. And I send you a big hug and a kiss and thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. All right. I wish you all a big hug and I look forward to seeing you in October.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Victoria.
My pleasure.
So, thank you. So I have a few more details and announcements. It's not going to take too much longer. First, I wanted to see if Dory is on and wanted to. Yep, Dory is here. Let's see if Dory can come on and say hello. Dory,
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Yeah. So, and yeah, and that's, we don't have any other administrators or staff. Dora, did you want to say anything specific in terms of welcome?
Nothing more specific than welcome. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you in the flesh. Most of us have made contact already on Skype or on Zoom, and I'm as fed up with it as you all are. We're getting revved up. Our fall semester is going to be bigger than ever, and yeah, I just can't wait to meet everybody.
Great. Thanks. I also wanted, so in terms of where we're going to be located, and everyone's curious about that, I'll be sending out great details. So for the first 2 weeks of classes, classes will be held in a few different rented locations. Some classes will be just online for the 2 weeks, a very few. And a few classes, singing classes actually will not be held. We will defer those 2 weeks of the classes till later in the term and do them here in the building in person, because we didn't have an adequate rental space for what was needed. So everyone, I recommend get an unlimited Metro card. It's good in general, but you're going to be doing a little bit of extra traveling. Sometimes it may not, you may be late to a class, or it may be, we're for the 2 weeks, we're going to make it work. And if there's any, class hours you missed or something, just know we will make that up to you with another great class or learning experience. It's going to be challenging for the 2 weeks until we're here, but it's going to work out. And the good thing is that we are going to be, mostly in person. If you haven't yet sent in your photo to your digital photo to photo@strasberg.edu, please do it right away, because we need that to make your student ID. Okay. I'll be giving more specifics on our detailed COVID safety plan. Everyone in the building will be vaccinated. There will be face masks worn, well-fitting face masks that are, cover your nose. And there'll be times where, there'll be times for scene work in places where at the teacher's, instruction, you'll be able to take off your mask to do some scene work. So, we're going to do the best we can as an acting school within these safety restrictions. The ventilation of the building, the renovation has been to improve the ventilation. So we're doing a lot to make the air safe, because what's important with COVID is these aerosols that kind of hang in the air. So we need to do take care to clean the air, to wear masks in case the mask protects you. If you're infected, it keeps you from putting so many particles in the air, and also protects you if there's, some of this virus in the air. And I'll give you more details of that. And the other thing I will say is, please, for the rest of this week, go out, explore the city, get out and about, ride the subway, ride the buses, get all the rideshare and taxi apps on your phone and get familiar with using those. Ride the New York City ferry. For $2.75, you can ride up and down the East River. It's or all around. It's a wonderful way to see things. And you'll be getting more communications. Your student ambassadors, all full-time students, will be assigned a student ambassador to just check in with you, reach out, help you adapt to New York City, adapt to your classes, and you will get support from both the administration and from these other students. Anybody have any questions?
Question on the photo IDs, do you send out a confirmation email saying that you received it or not? Because I
No,
personally
no. If you send in your photo, just be patient. There's somebody's going to be making the IDs, and when you come in, you'll.
Diana, I
But-
think yours is here.
Okay, I just wanted to know
Okay.
if you have any issues, whether you'd flag it or if you'd wait.
Well, yeah, at some point we would notice that somebody didn't send it. If you sent it to the correct email, we received it. But yeah, there isn't necessarily someone to confirm. But also, everybody, you can make an appointment to come in this week, pick up an orientation packet, and take care of any, if you need to sign an enrollment agreement, if there's anything you need to be in person for, you don't have to. We will, arrange the orientation packet. Most of it is on the digital orientation packet. And if you attend an international orientation, you would have received some of the special items. But you're still welcome to. I know, Danny, you were at international orientation, but if you wanted to come back, make another appointment to visit, you're very welcome to. But anyone who hasn't yet, please, and those of you who are watching this recording, if you can come in this week, we would, please do. But don't worry, anything, if you're not able to make it in this week, you won't miss anything, and we'll be distributing the packets to new students. You'll get it at some point, and mostly it's some, written material, some of it, which is available digitally, and a few other items. I know there's a lot of emails, and I know that can be challenging, but please, if you whitelist, there's something you can do called whitelisting a domain. So strasberg.edu, you find out how to basically whitelist, you tell your email, don't put anything from this domain into spam, or it's important that you get emails because there's announcements, there's various things, but I just want you to be aware of that. And anyone else have any questions?
Actually, I do. Is there any reduction we're getting on the Metro card as students, or is it the normal rate?
New York City does not provide a student. There's no
Okay.
student Metro card. The discount, though, is if you buy an unlimited Metro card, it's a good deal.
The 127 for a month. I think,
Yes.
something like that. Okay,
Yeah,
and
something
then
like that.
another question. We bring the certificate of the vaccination. Do we need to have another test, or is the one that we made before we came enough, or the certificate for the vaccinations, is that enough, or do we have to get another test made? COVID test.
I'm talking about a COVID test.
Yes.
We'll send out information. Where, basically, we want everyone to use common sense in that if you've been exposed to COVID, please get tested. If you're having some symptoms, please get tested. We don't, we don't have the ability to enforce making sure everyone got tested. So we're going to ask everyone to be a responsible community member. And, so if you got tested right before you got on the plane and not too long ago, that's good. Should you, again, if you know you have an exposure, somebody who's been diagnosed with COVID, you should get tested. And also, of course, if you're feeling some symptoms, but and as well, please be careful out and about in the city. You know what I mean? New York is doing pretty good in terms of COVID cases, but it's here. The Delta variant, which is really bad, it is here. And even if you're vaccinated, you can get very sick. And, some people will even, not make it. And it's very contagious. So, but the way everyone keeps it down is by all these measures: vaccination, wearing a mask. So that's the most important thing. Don't go out to a bar where they're, not wearing masks. There's some people who are, just that's the thing. Go outside, do things outside. Wear a good quality mask is the other thing. These ones that if your mask is falling off your nose, you're not wearing a mask. If you have to keep pushing it up, you're not wearing a mask. Okay, you're
Yeah,
breathing
of
through your
course.
nose. You need a mask that has something that fits around your nose. Basically, you want kind of a tight seal, either a several layer mask, or you layer your masks, like if it's a thin cloth mask, wear one of those surgical masks. So we all have to, the more, right now, New York is just opening up, kids going back to school, workers, so it's a changing time, and soon it will get cold. So if we want everyone to be very vigilant. And
Yes,
so
of course.
basically get tested when it makes sense to do so. And, we're all walking into the unknown in terms of like, what's going to happen next. Our goal is just to make sure that we're going to do everything possible to keep our classrooms safe. We're going to do everything possible to, and just again, if you, let's say you've been exposed and you shouldn't come to class. If you're genuinely, you're isolating, quarantine, we will make sure that if you miss classes, you're going to get something else. You know what I mean? So that,
Yeah.
we don't want you to miss out on your education. Absolutely. But we need everyone to help us keep the community safe. And, we will find ways to, the goal is provide the, exceptional educational experience and training that you came here for, and that's going to happen. But we're all walking to the unknown, and we're just gonna we're gonna be creative and find solutions whenever there's any issues.
Of course. Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Anyone else have any quick question?
I have a quick question. It's Misha.
Hi, Misha.
Hi. Just wondering if there was a special orientation for international students. Did I miss that, or is this it?
I did have an international orientation. I'll have another one, and I'll record them. All international students, I'll make sure you get information, but don't worry about that right now. So I'll send you information. I'll probably hold other orientations just by Zoom and record them. But this orientation is, a lot of the important info, and I'll be in touch with you about, things you need to do, knowing to download your I-94. When you do come to visit the school, please bring your passport and your I-20.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
And but you'll get all that information, and the international part. Probably I'll probably have more than one, even like in the first week of school, because some people aren't going to get here until like the weekend before. So there'll be others, and they'll be recorded, so you won't miss anything. You'll get all that info.
Okay, great. I'll be on hold then. But if I schedule an appointment to come to meet you guys this week, then we can get all stuff sorted. I can bring whatever I need to bring, which you said for an I-20.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, and to make the appointment, so you guys can either call the school, the main number, 212-533-5500, or email to newyork@strasberg.edu, and we'll set you up with an appointment this week.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. So I guess we'll close unless anyone has any burning question before we close. Okay, thank you all. It's wonderful to see you. Hopefully we'll see a lot of you this week coming in for appointments, and then I will be sending out information about where all the different classes will be held. Some of the classes, the class times just for the 2 weeks will be altered. So and that's to allow time to get from one location to another, or to fit into the these rental spaces had different availability. So there'll be a little bit of the first 2 weeks. It's going to be it's going to be a little different, and then after that we'll change into the building. We may still have some classes in outside locations, but basically we're looking to not overcrowd things and space you out. All right. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.